What is the difference between a rich person and a poor person? Your response might be, oh, he got lucky, or he was in a favorable economy, he had a better network. You try to explain it away and attribute the cause to some externality. However, if there was some neurological process that took your mind and substituted it with that of Elon, would you be rich? Of course you would. That's Elon. I'm sure you've gotten a glimpse of the point I'm trying to highlight. Rich people think differently, poor people think differently as well. And it's those poor thoughts that engenders poverty, because how you think determines how you act. How you act produces the ultimate quality of your life. Most of you got up today, got up tired, sick in fact, but I have to go to my job. Why don't you rest? Because you thought, if I don't go to my job, I'm going to get a query. Even worse, I might lose the job. Therefore, I would act in the opposite direction. So that action stemmed from your thoughts. If that's the case and you believe what I'm saying is logical and sound, if you like, it now means to produce X amount of results, you have to think differently. Rich people think in terms of acquisition and assets. Poor people think in terms of spending and temporary gratification, which is also a subset of spending. Once you spend that initial money, once you spend more than you can conveniently pay for, you release those endorphins either through the outlets of getting the latest version of iPhone or some handbag or some couch you don't need. If I ask you, why do you think the rich people invest, or why do you think rich people acquire assets? You might respond with, oh, to produce cash flow. No, bro, you're a dog. And that is a very optimistic answer. I'm going to tell you, my friend, the rich people primarily invest as a hedge against inflation. There's something called Gresham's law. It states, when the bad money comes into the economy, the good money goes into hiding. Bad money in this case is the fiat currency. Fiat currency is your dollar bill. It has no intrinsic value. It's what I call a legal tender. A legal tender is something that is generally acceptable because it was imposed by the government, as opposed to having some kind of intrinsic value. In 1971, when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard, it now meant that the dollar could be printed without discretion. Previously, a nation could not print beyond the amount of its gold reserve. So dollar and the amount of dollars in circulation was closely linked to something intrinsic like the gold. Nowadays, they just print it away without discretion. And how is this printing of money devaluating your currency? Many of you are throwing around this word, stop printing money, stop printing money. The national debt is going through the roof. But you don't understand intricately why this is so. The first thing you have to understand is value is linked to scarcity. Like the gold. The only reason the gold is twice as valuable is because it is difficult to find. If gold was laying on every corner of the street, do you think we would identify it, let alone deem it valuable? Of course not. The same thing with dollars. The more dollars you inject into the economy, especially if there was nothing produced, it was just printed, the more inflation you would cause. Let me give you an example. If there were only $20 in circulation throughout the economy, and $20 gives me exposure to these goods, if an additional $20 was to be injected, not as a result of some kind of produce or value exchange, but printed from the sky, nothing, it would now cost me more to get exposure to these goods. You know why? Because the owner has access to the tool of exchange. Well, if I have the same $20 as you, why in the hell would I give up my assets? You have to pay more. You have to pay full price, bro. We see this in 2020 during COVID when Biden was handing out those stimulus checks. Many of you were praising Biden. Oh, he's a good president. The reality of it is we are suffering from that inflation now. The first one. Another way to look at it is he was not giving you the money. He was giving his political friends, his friends in power, and all the rich businessmen in the US. It was John D. Rockefeller who said, if the money was to be divided equally amongst its people, it will return to the hands of a few individuals in a matter of years. How many of you still have your stimulus check? Exactly. What most of you did is when you got that check, you went to Gucci, Louis Vuitton, further making who rich? Bernard Arnault. Some of you were smarter with it, or you needed groceries, so you went to Walmart. Who did you make rich? Walmart just got richer. So in the presence of inflation, these big conglomerates benefit massively because their asset prices keep climbing. Because all these newly printed dollars is being funneled towards their company. So they make more profits, the asset prices increases, their stock price shoot up, making the rich even richer. That's one aspect. Another way we can look at it is if say you try to invest this money, you took the stimulus check, you and your poor friends, you combined it into one block of cash. You purchased a unit. So that's one unit taking off the property market. Who did you make rich? Grant Cardone, Robert Kiyosaki just got rich. Now the prices of the surrounding assets skyrockets. Invest in the stock market. That's why we saw Amazon stock shoot up by 30%. Now Bezos is a baller, like just balling and tearing down bridges, so his yacht can pass through. So my friends, regardless of where it looks as though whether you invest the money, whether you spend either usefully or extravagantly, it looks as though you are locked within the horns of a dilemma. Irregardless of where you turn to, you are God. So this is sound advice. I've listened to every single thing you've said up until this point, and I still don't get it. If I invest, I'm still injured. So I'm faced with a dilemma. What do I do? Well, I'll tell you what you do, and what you do is very, very simple. It was Elle Nightingale who said, you cannot enrich yourself without enriching others. This idea that you can get rich without enriching someone else in the process is erroneous. It's delusional, in fact. Say you want to invest in rental properties and you wanted to build the edifice from scratch. You would have to pay laborers, you have to hire a contractor, get building materials. All of those activities that contribute in that value chain would eat up your resources. So it's impossible to lay investment without enriching others in the process. There is no way you can invest without someone making a profit off of you. Let me repeat it again. There's no way you can invest without someone making a profit off of you. So this idea of trying to do it all yourself or cut corners would only leave you frustrated. And as always, my friends, it's a pleasure speaking to you. I'll see you in the next one.